Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on for item number 12, discussion and/or action on consideration to change the date for appointment of mayor and mayor pro tem and possible appointment of mayor and mayor pro tem. That's item number 12. And I believe this item was brought on by Mr. Kim and Mr. Castro, which I went ahead and I allowed Mr. Rodriguez to place on our agenda in that Mr. Rodriguez did ask for my final approval to have this item placed on the agenda, being that I am the sitting mayor at this time. I figured that considering the different issues that are occurring at the city right now amongst this council, it is important to put this type of issue to rest as soon as possible. As you can see, here we are almost 10 o'clock at night, and we do have quite a bit of city business to conduct. So I do apologize those who waited for this item. The business of the city of Calexico was a priority in my eyes, so we did go ahead and allow this item to just stay exactly where it was. So, Mr. Kim and Mr. Castro, being that you were the individuals who initiated this item for the agenda, would you like to start the discussion, Mr. Kim?
Well, I think Mr. Castro, he was initiated, and I'm the one seconded. So you still want me to say? Well,
Yes, I'm sorry, somebody was talking to me. Can you repeat that again, Mr. Kim?
okay. What I'm saying is Mr. Castro was mentioned, initiated. I'm seconded. So I think the initiated people are supposed to be starting to background.
Mr. Kim, so you don't want to make any comments on this item? Is that what you're saying?
I do, but the motion maker is supposed to be do first.
Okay, so you're saying that Mr. Castro was the one that
Castro's-
initiated. What do you feel, Mr. Castro? Would you like to
I
start?
don't have no problem with that. I can start with this issue. Well, basically,
Excuse me, why don't we hear the people's comment?
Oh, that's right, huh? Sorry about that. I took a little bit too much of a long rest. Okay, let's go ahead and start with Ms. Maribel Padilla for item number 12.
My name is Maribel Padilla. I withhold my address, as the CPOA members do. I would like to make it clear, I write my own speeches, no one writes them for me, as suggested. I write them to censor myself and make sure that the time limit is withheld. That's it, here we go. I'm here in opposition of agenda item number 12, which Castro and Kim have brought forward to remove Mayor Maritza Hurtado from her position. I guess they couldn't get rid of the politioners, as Castro called them, so now it's time to remove the mayor, with obvious support from the CPOA. What a surprise. Regarding today's article in the Avi Press, which I have here, Castro says he wants the mayor appointment changed to start in July. Now my question is, why wasn't this motion brought on a few months back to be effective in July? Why now? Castro also states, quote, the change was requested in order to have the appointment of mayor coincide with the end of the fiscal year and consideration of the next budget, end of quote. This is the only thing you could come up with. The Ivy Press also states, quote, the proposed changes on tonight's agenda come shortly after Hurtado filed sexual discrimination complaints against Castro, Hodge, and Kim. But Castro said it's unrelated, end of quote. Mr. Castro, do you really believe the citizens of this city are so gullible as to believe that this motion is unrelated? I'm insulted if you think I'm that dumb. I'm sure the other voters sitting here are insulted as well. Now the article also states, quote, it was 4-1 vote for Hurtado to become mayor in November, with Kim dissenting, stating that Hurtado's appointment as mayor jeopardizes the community, end of quote. Mr. Kim, this coming from you who didn't care to jeopardize the school district by having them waste over $30,000 in litigation to force you to do the ethical thing of resigning. This from you who disrespect the mayor continuously by interrupting when it's her turn to speak, by calling her names like dictator and queen. Now remember, I'm the queen. You, sir, have jeopardized this community in a much larger scale than the mayor's appointment. I can only hope that when it's your turn to be mayor, you receive the same treatment you gave her so you can see how it feels. By the way, I saw you on the news, and you said, the council gangs up on me. Mr. Kim, be a leader, not a victim. Same article, quoted Hurtado herself, said she feels the proposed item is a huge disappointment, since at the last meeting it was agreed that we would mediate our differences, unquote. Obviously, the mediation didn't work too. Did it, Mike? Did it? My question is, why was she not given the proper notice on this item if, in fact, as Castro quoted earlier, it's just to coincide with the fiscal year, blah, blah, blah. Mayor, you quoted, no one ever called me over, ever had the courtesy to let me know they had a concern. At this point, why would you be surprised? They did not afford you the courtesy. They haven't in the past since you took office. Why would they now that you have slapped them with the sexual discrimination complaints? I can truly say I believe it by the motions brought up tonight that your complaints, in fact, are legitimate. Mr. Hodge,
Ms. Padilla,
you are,
I'm going to have to ask you to end your statement because it's already 3 minutes.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla, very much. Ms. Norma Aguilar? Can someone find Mr. Romo out there?
He left, Madam Mayor.
You sure?
That's what he told me.
Okay. I'm not gonna be-
Norma Aguilar, Calexico, California. It's been very difficult to be attending our council meetings precisely because of what goes on, because of the divisiveness, the contentiousness, the disruptive behavior, and I'm not just talking about one individual, I'm talking about the council as a whole. You were elected to represent and to hear the concerns of the citizens and advocate on their behalf. Do so. The other thing that came to my attention was in the backup material on this item. It's significant backup material where it stipulates what the policy was, where it would change over in July. The council changed the policy because they moved it to the election in November, and which, by the way, the policy change adheres to what state law is. So I don't see what purpose this item serves other than to serve as a payback. Finally, Madam President and Madam Mayor, I've spoken with you individually and personally in terms of following the Robert's Rules of Order and following the ordinances. You have the tools at your hands to run a well-run meeting. Use your ordinances. And I'm glad to see finally backup from the attorneys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilar. Next is Ms. Juarez. Señora Juárez. Usted sigue, señora Juárez.
Hay que traer los earphones.
And after her will be Marco Maeda. And I have no more slips.
Mi nombre es Socorro Juárez y yo no quiero hablar de liderazgos. Aquí he oído muchos comentarios en pro y en contra. Yo soy una persona que sé que hay unos estatutos. Los estatutos se respetan, no se pueden cambiar de la noche a la mañana. Y estamos hablando aquí, sacando los trapitos al sol de personas. No se trata de eso. A mí lo que me importa y a lo que vengo es el cambio de persona, porque así ha sucedido todos los años. Yo tengo 45 años. Desgraciadamente por mi enfermedad no he estado en las juntas, pero yo he sido una persona que he participado siempre y nunca había visto tanta división. Y aquí no necesitamos líderes, necesitamos personas que les interese la comunidad. Están hablando de parques cuando no hay recreación. Yo tengo 40 nietos y 60 bisnietos y 12 hijos. Todos se van para Mexicali o se van para otra parte porque no hay dónde recrearse. Están en las calles, está bien, es importante para los que tienen dinero y tienen carro. Pero aquí no se trata de sacarle los trapitos al sol, porque si empezamos a sacarnos los trapitos al sol, se los vuelvo a repetir, nadie estamos libres de culpa. Los errores se cometen y los cometemos, pero aquí estamos para respetar los estatutos y yo estoy de acuerdo que se cambie de alcaldesa porque siempre se ha hecho. Ahora, ¿cuál es el instinto de tener a una persona que es la que ha traído tanta división y tanto desconforme en la comunidad? Así es que ese es mi punto de vista. Mi nombre es Socorro Juárez, mi teléfono es 357-6981 y aunque les duela, yo estoy a favor de que se cambie porque siempre así se ha utilizado. No por nombres ni por nada, no sé ahora por qué estamos tan arraigados en un puesto que debemos de dejar, porque como lo dije y lo vuelvo a repetir, nadie somos eternos, hay un término y debemos de cumplir con las reglas y los términos. Cuando se nos llega el término, tenemos que saber que ya nuestro ciclo se terminó y vamos a segundas partes. Ese es mi punto de vista y también estoy que están tirándole al departamento de policía. Agradecidos habíamos de estar con ellos porque son los que nos protegen, porque son los que nos auxilian. Lo digo por mí y por varios vecinos que somos gente ya vieja, que no servimos para nada y allí están ellos para resguardarnos. Fíjense en eso, no se fijen en los errores del señor fulano de tal. No quiero nombrar nombres porque aunque no tuve escuela, es falta de respeto nombrar nombres de personas.
Muchas gracias, señora Juárez. Muchas gracias, ya es su tiempo. Muchas gracias.
Entonces, me vienen de dar más porque todavía no termino.
Quisiéramos darle más tiempo, señora, nada más como hay mucha gente que necesitan también hablar, se tiene que dar un límite, disculpe. Ok, sigue Marco Maeda. Is next, please? Marco Maeda, next speaker.
Mi nombre es Marco Maeda, vivo aquí en Calexico, en la Harrington, para que sepan. Mucho gusto a todos los que están acá arriba. No tengo nada contra nadie. Lo único que quiero decir es que cada vez que vengo a las juntas sí oigo mucho pleito entre ciertas personas aquí. La verdad, es muy difícil para mí entender a varios de los que están acá arriba y yo creo que también es difícil para otras personas aquí. Yo creo que si vas a hablar, habla bien. No estés enojado, platícanos. Queremos saber tu opinión. Nadie venimos aquí a que nos estén gritando, o no entender, simplemente no les entiendo. Hay muchas cosas que se repiten y llevamos 3, 4 horas con lo mismo. Quiero que nomás, por favor, vengan y hagan su trabajo, háganlo bien, para que nosotros también nos vayamos. Estamos aquí desde muy temprano oyendo las mismas tonterías. Creo que si no estuviera la Mayor Hurtado, pues sería todavía más difícil entenderles, porque pues sí le entiendo perfectamente a ella, le entiendo perfectamente al señor Hodge, le entiendo al señor Moreno, señor Castro, honestamente no le entiendo, y Mr. Kim, pues obviamente mucho menos. Ojalá que a lo mejor debería de hablar español para entenderle. Yo creo que si se expresa en español todos le vamos a entender, todos hablamos español. Es todo lo que tengo que decir, con permiso.
Thank you, Mr. Maeda. Okay, Mr. Joel Bielma.
Hello again. My name is Joe Biama, living Calexico citizen, also part of Police Commission again. One of the things I didn't get to finish is to say some good things about Madam Mayor Hurtado, is that she's been out there quite a bit in very positive environments, supporting the community in so many different ways. Like just recently, this drowning with this incident with this juvenile. I saw her out there trying her best and trying to make a difference. It's issues like this that I see that I really can't see why this new agenda of trying to remove her from mayor at a sooner time than November. One of the issues that I'm concerned about is that if she is removed at this point, I'm really concerned about, is this a witch hunt? That's what I'm concerned about. And if it is, it's something that we need to be aware of. I think, I'm sure the city attorney would agree with me, this is subject to open to a whistleblower. And that's gonna cost the city some money if it does come down to this. And these are the things that we need to really, really realize that it's only going to hurt the citizens of Calexico again. We need to really, really take a look at what's about to happen and take a step back and make sure that you guys make the right decision tonight. Not just for the council, but for the citizens of Calexico. The other thing, I was just approached during the break that a concerned citizen that I'm not going to mention, she wanted to remain anonymous, that supposedly CPOA threatened Mrs. Madam Mayor in regards that some way or somehow that they were going to make sure that she stepped down. These are my concerns. I don't know if true or not, but the thing is, they came to me as a police commissioner to make sure that this is not happening. And if it is, as police commissioner, I want to make sure that it's looked into. And I will talk to the chief about this. And I will talk to the Madam Mayor about this, because if it is happening, it needs to be stopped. And it is a concern that I have. And that's all I have to say for you, Madam Mayor, that I think you did an outstanding job. And continue with it.
Mr. Ureña, you wanted to speak on this item?
No, it's for someone else.
Okay, can I see the name? Does that someone else want to come up to the podium? Mr. Eddie Guzman? Oh, no, wait a minute. I don't have your slip. This says Ana Castro. Ms. Castro, did you want to speak? Or who wants to speak? Because it says your name on it, Ms. Castro. Mr. Guzman, if you want to speak, it's not a problem.
Good afternoon. My name is Ana Castro, and I come here in behalf of the 3 city councilmen that were falsely accused. You know, for you to put this in the newspaper and falsely accuse them of sexual harassment, that's a very serious accusation you put down. And it is totally wrong on your behalf. You as a mayor have failed our community and has also wanted to take credit, just like Mr. Said about you being out there for the family. For your information, it was my husband and I that called the board of directors for them to come down to see on the issue of the boy that fell in the canal. And if anybody wants to verify that, they can go to the family, because we went personally. So you like to take credit for something that you did not do. So besides that, you know, you have actually embarrassed a lot of women, because me as a woman, seeing you, how you act, how you put your things in Facebook, it's an embarrassment for the position you are holding. You know, I believe that if you're going to be sitting in that chair, you should be responsible, should be well-mannered, and, you know, even, you know, for you to say that my husband has discriminated against you, there's videos also, even on the city, where you have actually jumped all over him, pulled him, and harassed him. And even, you know, that was 2 years ago for the event of the, what's it called? It was a city event. And it's on the video, it's there, you know. You were the one, oh, you know when it was? Exactly at the time that you had my husband demoted from the position, you know. But for you to accuse all three of them, you know, you're wrong. Definitely, you are not fit to be sitting in that chair. And that's my opinion, and not just my opinion, but I've heard it from many people, even from young 21-year-old ladies that are well-mannered. So, you know, that is my opinion, and you're not fit to sit in that chair and represent the city of Calexico, because we want action. We want to progress. This is not a wish hunt. This is, we need progress, and we need to move on. And I'm sorry if you don't understand, you know, Mr. Kim or Mr. Castro, you know, maybe you need to put some audios or, you know, but this is, the United States is made up of many cultures, many. So just listen and you'll hear and you'll understand. Perfect.
Ms. Castro, you need to
Perfect.
direct your, whenever anyone
Okay.
comes up, Ms. Castro, excuse me. When
That's
anyone
fine.
Ms. Castro, excuse me. When anyone comes up to the podium, you must direct your comments and concerns to the council, not to the audience. And your time is up, Ms. Castro. Thank you very much. Mr. Eddie Guzman, you're next.
Great evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eduardo Eddie Guzman at 344 East 4th Street, apartment 35, Calexico. I just wish, you know, that I left Calexico a while back, and I thought, you know, over the years, Calexico would straighten out and stop this only in Calexico deal. And you know, it's just disgusting when you go El Centro, and I'm all over the county, and we're the laughing stock of the county. Because they say, you guys are, you know, only in Calexico. I mean, this has got to stop. And the stop has to start with our representatives, you know, our leaders here. And these are people, I hope that, you know, you don't take this personally, Mayor Maritza.
Never.
You know, I'm a friend of yours, I'm a friend of your families, and we have to leave our personal problems on one side and the other, politics is on the other side. We can say so many things when we're talking politics, and I don't agree politics with you, or at times. It's got nothing to do with our friendships. I hope that's the way it should be taken, but that's the way in Calexico it's being. You hate the other people because they said something about this, about something I didn't like you saying about, you know, whatever it is. And I think we should stop that. We can't take this into our hearts and start hating each other, dividing our people. You're on that group, I'm on this group. We don't have to be anywhere. We have to be on the justice group, justice for all. We want justice, we want good city government, and I'm glad that we're forming our committee here to have a better government. And we are gonna be gathering on a month-to-month basis so that we can continue an eye on our council people. Thank you very much, and I hope this straightens out, and maybe you had to retract on these cases that you came up with, and hopefully we can follow on too, you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guzman. Ms. Carla Flores?
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Carla Flores. I live in 602 Amelia Drive. And I wasn't going to come up here and say, I wasn't going to say anything, but you know, after the fact, hearing everybody, we've been here for 4 hours. Obviously, everybody knows the protocol of what it is and what's going on here. Everybody's been saying the same thing, but you know what? I don't think it's the city council's problem. I think it's us, the problem, because we are separating each and every one of them. We go to them, we have our favorites, and believe me, everybody has their favorites. What's happening right now and what's happening tonight, we're going back to the same issue. We're going back to what happened last year. And if you don't want to admit to it, it is what we all think. You know, it's payback, basically. It's a payback, and why are we going back to the same issue? I just don't get it. I feel that some of the council members that are here are not here for the residents of the city of Calexico. I feel that some of the resident council that are here are for their best interest of their own business. And if you are not here for the residents of Calexico, I think you need to step down and you need to give somebody else the opportunity to conduct business up here. Because it's the same issues all the time. I come to the city council meetings when I can, when I'm able to. If I don't make it, I watch them online. And I see it's the same thing over and over again from the same people. The same people. And I have yet seen a green button for you, Mr. Kim. It's always red. It's always red. Why are you so negative? Why can't you be positive? Why can't you work with your city council members? Why do you have to always question what you already have an answer to? I'm not questioning Maritza for what she did. She has her reasons why she did it. And for the lady that came up here right now and said that Maritza is an embarrassment for the women of Calexico, I am so sorry, but she is an excellence of a woman for the city of Calexico. And she represents each and every one of us. She is a role model to all of us. Why? Because she's the only one who stood up in front of all you men and fought for whatever us residents want. I don't see why she is a disgrace for us women. She is not a disgrace for us women. And again, there's a reason why you're not at the school board, Mr. Kim. There's a reason. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Okay, I've exhausted all public comment slips, so I guess we can go ahead and take this back to council. Mr. Kim, did you want to start?
I think
Mr. Kim, did you want to start? Oh, you want to start with Mr. Castro? We were going to start that way, Mr. Castro, and then I realized that we hadn't done the, go ahead.
I don't have no problem with that. Well, first of all, I request to move the city general municipal election date from November to June.
I'm sorry, Mr. Castro, you asking to change the municipal election? This is about the mayor term, not the election yet?
Also, let me clarify that Oscar Rodriguez. What, can you tell me what it says on the email that I sent to you the last week?
I don't have it with me.
You don't have it with you?
No.
Can you remember what it says on that letter? When I asked you about this issue.
I thought, I'm sorry.
You have it?
I come prepared.
You have it, that's it right there.
Yeah, it's right. Well, this is from Luis Castro, yeah, it is. Okay. Number one, change back to the position of the mayor and the mayor pro tem be appointed during the month of July of each year, starting with July 2013. Number 2, appointment of the mayor and the mayor pro tem. That's number 2. And Shane, back to the position. Well, basically, that's what I'm talking about. What's your question? I didn't get it, Mayor.
Oh, it's because you just mentioned right now that you were asking for the change in the actual municipal election, is what you just said. But you didn't mean that, I don't think you were.
No, I didn't mean that.
Okay,
I'm
you're- I
sorry.
think
But
probably what you're saying-
I already this what I want, and basically why did I request this issue is because I believe every at the end of July, at the end of the June, we started with a new fiscal year, and I believe the new mayor needs to be on top with a new budget. That's the reason, and I know there's a lot of people talking and mention that I'm against the mayor. You know what? I'm not against the mayor. I'm not against Maritza. I treat her as a woman. I respect her, and she knows. But, you know, the truth, I feel like, what's the word? In order to, I feel, I don't know is that the word, but I feel passion for her. I feel, oh, is that sexual harassment? Dang. Dang. Well, probably is not the word that I need to tag, but I mean, let me, can I
Yeah, go ahead
continue
and
with
finish.
that?
Go ahead and finish.
Well, the reason I'm support her as a mayor about I believe seven months ago, so I don't have nothing against her. I mean, she mentioned, and I'm talking about this because the majority of the people who are here, they think that Mr. Castro is against the mayor. No, I'm not. I'm not against her. I support her like 7 months ago that I mentioned, and I will continue work with her. Is she let us to work with her, and that's about it. I don't have not anything, or I have nothing related to this issue. So that's the reason I request these 2 motions. That's all.
Okay, I asked,
And I'm sorry, and I apologize if I say passion. Did I say passion, right?
Maybe you meant,
But it's not
maybe
the
you
word
meant
passion.
sympathy. Maybe you
Huh?
meant sympathy.
Sympathy. You got it. Thank you, Mr. Bilhash. I feel sympathy.
thank you, Mr. Castro. Mr. Kim, are you ready now?
Well, the Mr. Castro was the wrong word. So I don't want to get the same mistake. Okay, first of all, I saw about 2 weeks ago, around 2 weeks ago, I saw the article that El Centro, they changed the gavel in June. And I said, wait a minute, we used to have changed our position in July until last year. Last year, when they removed Mr. Castro from the mayorship, I think somebody had some greedy to stay 1 year, so they removed from the July to the December to stay 1 year. But when I see that I was last year, the December coming in, we were voting for the new mayor, I said, wait a minute, it's just a new council member to make the decision for someone else? We used to have a July election, and July we starting new fiscal years. So that's why I thought it's a good idea. So it's nothing to do against the mayorship. If I ever bring, I believe the last meeting, I have conflict with the mayor, but I never ever asked or to request to change the mayorship. I just follow the rules as much as can. Sometimes I'm confronting, but this was nothing to do to remove the mayor from position. We just put it back to what we used to do before. As the fiscal years, and the new council member, when they elect in December, they already been working about 6 months to working with the council member. They can learn who can trust, who cannot trust. So then they can make their own decision to who to support. That's why I'm supporting this. And though I had to little mention some kind of like witch hunting or not, we just putting back to the what used to be system. The rotation terms used to be we have a year ago. And nothing to do it. If we really witch hunting, witch hunting was when they removed Mr. Castro from mayorship. That was the witch hunting.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last word. That was what?
Well, I can't in my mouth. If the mutual hunting, that was when they removed Mr. Castro from the mayorship, that was the witch hunting. This one has nothing to do with the witch hunting. We just put that schedule back to the same we used to have it. So I'm supporting to change it back to the July, and we can deal with the new fiscal year with the new mayorship. Thank you.
Is that all, Mr. Kim?
Compassion,
Okay.
that's the word.
Okay, gentlemen, I've asked the gentleman if I can go ahead and ask you a couple of questions at this point and not go through the regular line of questioning that we were following earlier. About the issues that are at hand right now within this council, I must say that the problems that are occurring are within this council. The last meeting we had last Tuesday created an idea about mediation, where Mr. Moreno would approach the members and mediate and find solutions. I was expecting that, and I didn't have any more communication with staff or anyone until Friday. I had personal things that I was taking care of, so I wasn't coming here to City Hall very often. And I then discovered on Friday that we had this proposal for this item. And my first thought was we needed to go ahead and take care of this. There was no need to wait for this item for later. I think it's very important, as you saw today, those of you who have tolerated all these hours of being here, that we just approved a very huge, huge project for the City of Calexico. And if you all had the opportunity to come and see our State of the City, that was also an opportunity to see the different things that are happening in the City of Calexico. So mediation to me definitely was an option, and I was looking forward to that. I also thought it was a good idea that Mr. Moreno would do the mediating, because we know ourselves. And it's like a marriage. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So, you know, you say, Mr. Castro and Mr. Kim, Mr. Castro, you indicate that you support me, and you did vote in my favor when we were there that day. Mr. Kim, you did not, and you're saying that all you want to do is just put this back. However, I want you all to realize that you never gave me an opportunity to know what you were planning. And Mr. Mr. Kim, you mentioned that there was some kind of plan or something to remove Mr. Castro from his position. That is incorrect. And I believe that all of us here can witness the fact, including Mr. Romero that's out there, that when we were having issues with your mayorship and what this council had concerns about, there were hours upon hours of conversation with you. Hours upon hours, and as a matter of fact, I recall, because I went back to look at those videos, I recall that Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Romero had requested a meeting with you, and they scheduled a meeting, and you didn't show up. So it was very different back then, because when that occurred, we had many conversations with you, and the intentions to resolve things were there. But at the end, the result that occurred was because this council felt there was no other option in those circumstances. This is very different, and you did not provide me the professional courtesy to be able to know what your intentions were until Friday. So since you did not bring this to my attention before, I do have a few questions for you both. The first is, as far as, well, actually, I need to clarify a little bit about our city government. We have a council to manager style government. This council provides direction as a unit, as a whole, as a council, to our manager. It cannot be just one person that makes a decision. It cannot be one person that provides direction. It has to be council as a whole. So as a whole, we are all responsible for our budget. We are all responsible for our budget, not just me. Not just anyone who sits in the council, in the city council chair is responsible for our budget because of the manner in which we are organized, and therefore, I guess my first question I can start with is, how do you feel that a single member, in other words, a mayor, can be held accountable in this style government all by themselves? The council's responsible for the financial affairs, as I said, as a whole for this type of government. So I would like to hear from you how you, a little more into detail, if we are that form of government, then how is it that you're singling out a mayorship to be responsible for a budget when in fact, and if anyone wants to interject to tell me that it's not correct, and maybe even legal if she'd like to, if our budget is the responsibility of all of us together.
You asking me?
I'm asking you both.
Good.
No.
Okay.
Whoever would
So
like
I
to
have a
respond.
very simple. So we just have new fiscal year with the new leadership. That's all it is. We're not asking the mayor to be responsible for the whole budget. Of course, we have to agree with it. Sometimes, most of the times, I'm not agree. But the new leadership, we used to have it. I'm not saying that I'm creating something. What we used to have it, just put it back. That's all I'm doing. I'm not creating something from the zero. The last year, until last year, we had scheduled to be the elected mayor July. So we just go back to the same years with the same leadership with the fiscal years.
Madam Mayor, if I may? Or if you're done?
No, yeah, I still need a little more. Okay, I'm not sure if that was the final part of your answer, Mr. Kim. Okay, I'd also like to remind this council that in October of 2011, I went back and I researched and I looked at the history of how we changed the dates of reorganization and the purposes behind why we changed the date of that election that occurred that brought Mr. Kim to this council. In October of 2011, October 18, when you were still mayor, Mr. Castro, you approved the idea of switching the date. Mr. Hodge was dissenting, and I saw that he did mention something about the combination of having changed, also remember that we changed our treasurer to be appointed instead of elected, and the city clerk as well. So I remember you had those concerns. However, it was a 4-1 vote. Mr. Castro was the mayor. On December the 20th, Mr. Castro was still the mayor, and we then signed a resolution to begin the process of these changes. These changes then finally were taken care of on the 10th of January of 2012, and we adopted the ordinance. And the idea was, somebody started saying the idea here, or what it was, and the backup documentation that I have here, if any of you would like to take a look at it, all of these issues and presentations of these ideas about switching our reorganization dates and the election was unanimous amongst this council that existed. The only person that wasn't here was Mr. Kim. Therefore, the majority of this council agreed, including you, Mr. Castro, to do these changes. These changes then allowed for, at that time, we were going to have an election in June, but we went ahead and we waited and we pushed it over to November when it was a general election when we were going to vote for our president. We felt that it was a better idea to be able to have more people participating in that election, and therefore, hopefully having better results and more people just participating pretty much. And it was going to be a cost savings. The backup also shows a cost savings. And that cost savings then was the basic idea of, instead of having 2 elections, one in June and one in November, we were only going to have one. So all of that was discussed by this council back then. I'm not too sure. It hasn't been too long ago. What changed your mind now that you don't feel that it's appropriate any longer when, in fact, you signed those resolutions, Mr. Castro? You supported it. All of you did. So to me, it just doesn't make sense at this point. The next thing that I'd like to be able to bring out to ensure that we all look at the facts on this situation is that at this point right now, I am concerned because you didn't mention about changing the election, but I heard and I understand that that's where you want to go to once again and changing your election into June. Now, we already just went through that not even 2 years ago when everyone was here to vote in its favor. Now you want to revert again, but I want to ask, can you justify that expense right now? The same expense that we were trying to save when we first did this decision to combine everything into November and changing the reorganization date. Now you want to revert it back. And I'm listening to your reasoning. However, we need to think about what those kinds of things that this council wants to do will cost the citizens. Have you justified your decisions or your opinions or your ideas with what it's going to cost?
Well, it doesn't cost anything because we changed the mayorship. Changing the mayorship,
sorry,
we don't
please.
change the election date.
I believe there was, if you like, I think that I can show you here the cost of what was involved in the savings of what was
We're
saved.
changing the mayorship.
Correct,
routine,
but like I said-
not the election date. You don't. I think that my English is enough to make you understand that.
Did you want to, okay, let me ask you now. In the future, I believe you just said that Mr. Castro was informed incorrectly that that would be your future intention as well?
I already told you I made a mistake on that. I read what I sent, the information I read the information that I submit to Mr. Oscar Rodriguez, and I make a motion to change back to the position of the mayor and the mayor pro tem
No, sir.
to be appointed during the month of July of each year, starting this July 2013. That's my motion.
Mr. Castro, I'm not finished yet, if I could please, because you did not afford me the opportunity, and I believe that it would be the
You've been
respectful thing to do.
talking. You've been
Yes,
talking
because
a
if
lot.
you would have had the opportunity and the courtesy, when we had to talk to you, it
The
was
last
hours
council
upon
meeting, you
hours.
gave me a minute. Come on.
I just want to know the last question, because up to now, I really don't see that you have a response to the questions I'm asking, but I'll ask anyway. How does the mayoral rotation
This is
date,
not a debate.
how does the mayoral, I'm asking you questions because you didn't afford me the opportunity previous. How does the mayoral rotation date help with the goals of the taxpayers and the citizens?
Like I told you, this is not a debate.
So you don't have a response for that? I'm asking you valid questions that I think that the citizens want to
The
hear from you.
the same, it's not gonna be the same amount that when you, Moreno, Romero, and Maritza spend on November election. It's gonna be the same, Mayor. That's the answer. You decide to change the date of the election, and the city pay for that. Now you have the answer.
Okay, so let's go ahead, and I can see that you don't have a response.
Okay.
Since a mayor, I want to also just final closing points here for everyone to understand fully. Since the mayor here in the city of Calexico, we have a weak mayorship. And in a weak mayorship, the mayor is only a symbolic position and serves as a chair in city council meetings and is the face of the city council. I believe that a protocol should be established to avoid unnecessary disturbances to official city business and the planning that's conducted by active mayors such as myself. At this point, I do have quite a number, which I expressed to you all, pending issues, pending work, pending business activity that a mayorship position is required to handle. Next week is a huge meeting, Mr. Castro and Mr. Kim, that I am organizing with the U.S.-Mexico Binational Committee to sponsor here in the city of Calexico. Now, you are telling me with no notification that I need to cancel that? Or I'm not sure what it is that you expected
The
me
next
to do.
mayor can
So-
attend to that meeting.
So item number 12, I just believe that item number 12, sincerely, gentlemen, and the public, when we want to make these kinds of changes, I think it's very important in the spirit of trying to be a team, that it be preceded by a protocol that will not cause unnecessary disturbances to official city business? Because really, why would you want interruption to city progress? And how is that helpful to the citizens?
There is a motion on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Castro. You have no answer then. So I have a, yes, I'm sorry. Sorry, we're going to provide Mr. Hodge an opportunity to speak.
Well, I don't like this, just like you don't. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I'm not in the business of revenge. I hope you will learn and know me that that's not my way of doing things. I don't have a heart for that. So officially, and again, don't mean to insult your intelligence, I'm going to agree with the arguments made by Councilman Kim and Castro. But we know that there are other things behind here. I'm very afraid to speak because of this claim. Now, the record will show that I have always treated Madam Mayor Hurtado with respect and professionalism. And you may think this is weak on my part, but I'm hurt. I'm hurt. But that can't be a factor. Officially, I'm agreeing with Castro and Kim, but I'm also stating that there are, on my part, other reasons, and it has nothing to do with witch hunt, has nothing to do with revenge. Because when Kim came in, he wanted to remove Madam Hurtado, and I said no, 2 wrongs don't make a right. I did not agree with the direction of removing Councilman Castro. But 2 wrongs don't make a right. But this is different. This is a different time. My heart is for you. I'm going to make a decision what I feel best, that is best for the community, to mend, to heal, and to move forward. Damage is already done. I always respected you, Maritza, and I will. But I need to make this tough decision, and I will.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Mr. Moreno.
Thank you. Getting back to the business at hand, if we were to move the election back to June, I'm sorry, not the election, but the rotation of mayor, the elections would still be in November. And so inadvertently, a council member could serve as mayor from July to December, a 6-month period. Obviously, Mr. Kim and Mr. Castro did not think this through when they decided to change the rotation. I feel Mayor Hurtado has done an excellent job running these meetings, serving on committees, and representing our town. We changed the election to save money, if you recall, for a better participation from the community. Right now, she has called out 3 council members on the carpet for items that we need to work out. These are council issues that need to be brought to the table. I thought it was made clear last week that we were going to do this. Then all of a sudden, we've got this on the agenda. The excuse quoted by one councilman in the Ivy Press referred to the budget as a reason for her removal is way off base and lame. Another council member has established a pattern of sexual harassment with other elected officials, and that's well known in our community. And that is why we must continue with mediation. That is the basis to continue with our plan. This has retaliation written all over it. It looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, you know what? It must be a duck. And I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. We were on the road, excuse me, Ms. Castro, I am speaking. Thank you. I don't interrupt you. We were on the road to work things out and move on with city business. It may be difficult to prove a sexual harassment case, but I don't think it's difficult to prove a retaliation case, if you can see that by now. I was selected by this council to mediate our current issues, but this item on the agenda is clearly an obstruction of that. If this passes, will we be able to mediate then? I don't think so. This will have a long-lasting effect professionally, personally, and financially on the city. When a student at my school comes to me and tells me that she is being sexually harassed or feels unsafe, do I ignore it? Is that the proper thing for me to do? No. I must investigate and I must mediate, and I must make that student feel safe. That student could be a sister, a daughter, a friend, whatever. We are avoiding the issue totally. We were elected to do the right things and to do things right. Is changing the mayorship the right thing to do? I ask you. Is that the right thing to do? Cannot we stick with our original plan to try to work things out instead of throwing a monkey wrench into this plan? Gentlemen, I urge you to rethink this through. Think with the end in mind. We shouldn't make a rash decision that will be a detriment to all of us. Let's seek that spirit of cooperation that I thought we had last week. Let's put our differences aside and try to reason with one another. Think about the effects that this will have. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, and I do apologize for the lengthy speeches. Okay, any other comments or any other concerns before we move on?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
may I make a statement before
course you
the
can.
motion and the vote? I just wanted to point out one thing that I thought was important that I don't believe has come up yet, which is that under the state law, the council is required to make a decision regarding the mayor and mayor pro tem at the same meeting when election results are announced. So I just wanted to point out that I don't think this necessarily prohibits this action tonight, but that it would mean that in an election year, this process would have to happen twice. That's all I wanted to put on the record.
Well, I think,
Because the election results would be in December in an election year, and you would be required to make this rotation again at that
For example,
time.
next year.
yeah, but the thing is, in case of like other cities, they have a different time of the rotating the mayorship. So something you bring the law is not factual. Probably the same. They have a that time they have a what's called the terminating some mayorship. I mean, some of the council members can be done that way, but we are in the middle of the year. I mean, the first of the fiscal year changing the mayorship. Even the mayor, essentially they did it. They have election in November and they changed the June.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
I'm saying that if you do change the rotation to July, and I don't believe the law prohibits that, the law does require that the decision be made again in December in an election year.
What's it mean? The December election again?
Can I just have the audience to please, thank you. I wasn't able to hear the conversation.
Oh, okay. Again, the motion is, number one, change back to the position of the mayor and mayor pro tem be appointed during the month of July of each year, starting with July 2013. That's the motion that I make, and that's the email that I sent to the city manager. I mean, what you're talking about election day. I didn't talk about election day. So that's my motion. There is a motion on the floor.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. I think what you're motioning then, Mr. Castro, is to approve item 12?
Yes.
Okay, second by Mr. Kim. Let's vote. Did you want to make a comment, Mr. Rodriguez? You're looking at me. Okay, motion passes 3-2. Thank you very much. And let's see. I think that there's a second part to item number 12. Is that correct, Ms. Foster?
Yes.
Yes, the first part having passed 3-2, now the council needs to take up the matter of making the appointments of mayor and mayor pro tem at this meeting.
Okay, I
Okay,
would
so
like,
does anybody want to entertain a motion for
Yes.
the appointment of mayor and mayor pro tem?
yes, I would like to make appointment. I would like to appoint Mr. Bill Hodge as a mayor.
I second.
Okay. We have a first and a second. First by Mr. Castro, second by Mr. Kim, to appoint the mayorship for Mr. Hodge.
Okay, and also I would like to make a motion to appoint for mayor pro tem, Mr. Kim.
I second.
Do I have a second for that? Do I have a second for that?
I have second.
You want to second your own motion? I mean,
Why
the
not?
motion for your own
Yes.
appointment, Mr. Kim?
Sure, why not?
Okay, we have a first by Mr. Castro and a second by Mr. Kim to be appointed as mayor pro tem. Please vote. Motion does not pass.
I'd like to make a
What you
motion.
vote, what you gonna get.
That's true. I'd like to make a motion to appoint as mayor pro tem in the right order of rotation, John Moreno.
I'll second that motion. Please vote. Ms. Foster, then I would relinquish the mayorship duties to Mr. Hodge.
Can't finish
If
it
that's
up.
what the council would like, yes. We have
she
two more
finish it up?
items. Yes, we have two more items. It's up to the council if they
I'm
want to
just
make
gonna
the
stay
change
here.
now at this meeting for the last two items or wait until the next meeting.
All right. I don't take pleasure for what's happened. I have my reasons. They will be revealed later.
You should have revealed them now. Now is the
Not with the claim hanging over my head. Anyway, let's move forward. It's late, ladies and gentlemen. It's late. So we're going to go to item number 13. Public hearing to consider approval and certification of final mitigated negative declaration with mitigation and monitoring program number 2013-01 for the Cesar Chavez Boulevard alignment improvements. Is there any comment you want to make, City Manager?
Basically, this item is pretty straightforward. It talks about the mitigation factors and the monitoring factors that we have to use in the...
Can we stop for a little one?
All right,
I mean,
there's noise.
to let the
Let the
people
people leave.
go out.
They're tired, they're hungry. They've been very patient. You may proceed, City Manager.
As I was saying, this item is pretty straightforward. There's, there's improvements that have to be done to Cesar Chavez, and according to that, there's going to be some shifting of alignment and some purchase of some properties that we need to acquire in order to align Cesar Chavez the way it should be. Public hearing has already been held at the Planning Commission level, and I understand we did not have any objections, so now it's up to your level for approval.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve this item.
Second.
Is there,
Oh, sorry.
oh, this is a public hearing.
Yes.
I apologize. So we need to open this public hearing on this item that's been stated. Where do we go first? Those that are opposed?
Those are in favor.
Those that are in favor. Thank you, Councilman Moreno. Those that are in favor, will you please come forward and give your comments? Seeing that there's none, thank you, Councilman Moreno. Then we will move to those that are opposed to this item. Please come forward. No one is coming forward. Seeing there's none, then we will take a vote. Close the public hearing. It is closed, and we will now take a vote. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. We had a motion.
A motion by me to approve this item.
Is there a second? Councilman Moreno made the motion. Councilwoman Hurtado seconded. Please vote. Moving, it passes unanimously.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's move on to item number 14. Praise the Lord, it's the last item. It is recommended that the City Council receive and file this May 31st, 2013 monthly report of revenues, expenditures, and cash. So this is a recommendation
To acknowledge.
to acknowledge.
Right.
Do we all acknowledge
We're
this?
just-
Have we
yeah,
done
we're
our
just
homework
asking you
and
to
studied
take it in.
this? You
I
wanna
think
say
the only
something?
thing that I can say, if it'll put you at ease, is that the numbers that you'll see in the report, we're going to be on target on our budget. I don't see anything that will distort meeting our targets for the June 30th.
Okay,
budget.
good to hear that. We applaud your efforts and your accomplishments. All right. All right, so acknowledged.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we end this council meeting at approximately 11 o'clock in the evening. It is over.